Good morning. I'm Phyllis Jones, host of Kids Community Connections. Good morning. Good morning. How you doing? You know what? I'm not doing well at all because it's now 40 degrees, now 30 degrees. It's this crazy Texas weather that I'm getting sick of. I really am. I want some northern weather here, some snow, so I can throw snowballs at people. Remember that I don't know, because I don't like throwing snowballs at people that I do know. It's no fun. I like the people that I don't know. But you know, we're going to talk about justice and injustice. Because as we know, we face it every day. Sometimes we become ignorant of the injustice because it didn't touch us, so we assume that it didn't happen. So we got a full show. A full show. But first I want to talk about something that happened on Monday. I'm not going to call out any names, but if you look at my Facebook post, it is. But I'm not. Monday, Martin Luther King Day. And, you know, we get under assumptions that we shouldn't. And we assume that everything is okay and fine. And I don't know where we got that from. But Monday, we were at a Martin Luther King Day program. A young man decided to step outside and smoke a cigarette. Because, you know, you can't smoke inside. And there was another man out there using his cell phone. And he was outside. Well, guess who comes? Now, this did not happen in Killeen. So I'll put that out. It didn't happen in Killeen. But it happened in a city close to Killeen. The police come up. Tell a young man to get on the ground. The other cop, he unfastened the little hook, he had his hand on his gun, so they're ready. Well, some men from the Nation of Islam came out because the other guy told them to come out, and they told him that he's not going to lay on the ground. And they got a call that someone called. Now, mind you, where this building is, across the street is no houses. Across the street is an office that was closed. So someone called the police and said a young man took a gun from his back pocket and put it in his front pocket, which sounds really crazy. So they came out for that. And there was a whole little thing about it, but it made no sense at all because, first of all, it's an open carry, and he does have a license to carry a gun. He didn't have it on him, but he had a license to carry it. So that situation went from where it shouldn't have even been enforced, or that rule, they shouldn't have came out for that because that sounds crazy. But anyway, they came out and it was a negative confrontation. It turned out okay, but because the young man had no gun, and the Nation of Islam, the minute from there, was saying he's not going to be laying on the ground. This is not going to happen. So it didn't. So and if you know me, I can be very confrontational because I really don't care. If you're doing something wrong, I'm coming after you. So I went to the police department and I talked to the person of the day who's sitting at the desk. And I asked him about the phone call. First, he wasn't going to tell me anything about it. He was very negative about it. But I gave him, so he needed more than just me. Fine. So I gave him my card. And then he started backing up because my card said something. Because obviously that's what he needed, somebody with a title. So, you know, I decided, hey, I can use one. So I gave him my card. Gave him my card and I didn't give him my ID because I didn't feel he needed it. Because my card said who I am. After that, we had a little discussion, and he told me that yes, the call came in, and he said yes, he did dispatch the officers out there. And I asked him once again, did that call make any sense? That, you know, you put a gun from your back pocket to your front pocket. I saw if you're driving by, you can't see all that in that point of driving by. It's impossible to see. But anyway, they sent them out. So I asked to speak to someone in charge over that person at the desk because the conversation wasn't going the way I thought it should go. So he called in a commander. Commander came out, and I won't say his name because then you'll know what department he's with. But the commander came out, and he understood where I was going. Because I told him, I said, one, it's Martin Luther King Day having a program. We're at a building where you see all these cars there who are obviously at that program. You come into the parking lot and this is what you do. I said, what does it look like to you? I said, it looks like the agreement that you're making with the community to work together just failed. I said, because you just took it back by doing this action right here. I said, because the lay on the ground. I mean, really, come on. You know, so he said he realized what it looked like, and he was going to talk to the officer. Well, you know, for me, that wasn't good enough either, because I'm still the confrontational one. So that wasn't good enough. So I contacted the chief. Chief gave me the dumbest answer that I thought was really dumb. He said that the officers thought of what happened with the shooting at the black church. He thought it might be something like that. So, you know, I didn't believe that. I'm not buying that story. That was his, and he can have his story, but, you know, I told him I disagree with that. Because that made really no sense at all. Because they just didn't work. It didn't make any sense. But he said that's what his officers were thinking. And that's not what they were thinking, because no one said that day that I went to them the same day. No one said that. This is a day later when the chief came up with this answer. So what I want to say to you is, you know what, when times when you relax and think everything is okay, I'm not going to say stay on guard, but what I'm saying is keep your eyes open and your mind working, because you never know what's going to happen or what's going to be said. You don't know what's going to happen or what's going to be said. So you need to be careful about, watch out things. And, some of us think we've arrived simply because you have a car, you have a house, you can go home every day. But that's a falsehood. You haven't arrived anywhere. You're still the same person you always were. So let's not get in that comfort zone of we've arrived, everything is okay, because it's not. And like I said, I'm not going to say be on guard 24/7, but keep your eyes open, your ears open, and pay attention to what you hear and what you see. And also remember, because nowadays we tend to have no memory. And I'm saying no memory because we'll read something that happened in the paper today, and if it's not in the paper anymore, you assume it's okay. You assume it's all fine. And there are a number of things that we need to realize. January, some of the injustices. January is, and I know nobody wants to hear, because it's one of those things you want to lift the carpet and sweep it under, but January is Sex Trafficking Month, Human Trafficking Month, with the emphasis on childhood sex trafficking. Now, most of you listening will say that doesn't affect me, but what if I told you there were 90 kids in Bell County taken last year for sex trafficking? You know what you would say? Oh, I didn't know that. What if I told you that Houston was the #1 city in the United States for sex trafficking? You'd say, I didn't know that. And I'm going to ask you why you don't know. Because if I know, then everybody knows me. And a friend of mine here, she don't know my bus route, but Nine knows me.
Why you keep doing me like this?
Because I love you.
I tell you, you're going to think I ain't got nothing better to do but to come up here with you.
But everybody knows. If I know something, I expect everybody to know. I really do. I actually do. I expect everybody to know. And people who say they don't know, then I tell you, you don't know your community, you don't know your streets. I will battle back and tell you that, and you can't, and you lose because you just told me you didn't know. So there are things, we let that happen. You know how we let that happen? Because you're reading the paper today that, hopefully we don't, but we will, we know that this child ran away from home. It's missing. And you know what you're going to say? That little fast so-and-so. That's what you're going to say?
Yeah.
You're going to say it. But you're never going to hear that she came back home. So you're going to assume nothing because you don't care, because it's not your child. You're just going to assume the Miss Fast so-and-so ran off. Well, when you never hear about her again, you don't think she's been sex trafficked? That don't come to our mind, does it? It just comes to your mind, there's a little fast child, whatever. And the boy, when he's come up missing, you just assume that he with his buddies, he hanging out, he's doing something illegal, but you don't think that he's been trafficked. And you don't follow that story anymore. We just let it go. We don't follow it. We don't say nothing. You just get this crazy assumption in your head that they fast, they hot, he with his boys, whatever. So you don't care until it happened to you. Then you want somebody to do something. That's when something shouldn't be done to me. I mean, you didn't care before, why are you going to care now? That's just me. It's just me. But now we're going to talk about something else that happened. In May 2014, early in the morning, Killeen Police Department decided to do something they've never done before. Ever. Incidentally, it disrupted my morning because that's my way to work. That was my way to work. I couldn't go to work that day, that way. But anyway, at 5 o'clock, I think it was early in the morning. I forgot what time. Anyway, it was before day in the morning. The police department in Killeen, or Bell County, they had never did a no-knock warrant. They never did one, ever. And we know what one is, but, what's going on. So they did this no-knock warrant. And yes, this time I'm going to name who they did it on. They did it on Marvin Guy. But guess what? Does anybody care right now? Is he human? No, he's inhuman right now because you don't care about that. Nobody's following it. Well, I am. Okay, I am the one, and 9 is. Yeah, she's not going down without a fight on that one.
Right, wrong.
But he got arrested. Now mind you, they found. This big drug dealer that he's supposed to be, there was no drugs in his house. Not at all. Just none. And in fact, I'll say something that the family might not know, but the informant gave the wrong diagram of his house, of his apartment. So they actually came in the wrong way. you know, which is another little, you know, little story there. But the whole thing went down. There's multiple shells that were on the floor, and a cop ended up being murdered, and one got shot. And Marvin was arrested. Now he's in jail on capital murder. And this is what, 2016? 17? Okay, and this happened in 2014? 2014.
Crazy.
So do we care?
We care.
Have we? Now the family does, but everybody else, do we care? Do we even know? No, or did we just assume that he's at home? Well, you know, last night, one of the elected officials in our city of Killeen called me up because she drove down that street. And she said, he's at home right now, right? Mind you, she's an elected official. And she called me, he's at home, right? I said, yeah, he's at home, Bell County Jail. It's been his house for a couple of years now.
Wow.
You know, so her thing was, what? You know, so I didn't answer any more of that. That was ended the conversation because I felt that at that point, who am I? I don't need to be talking to nobody at all. I don't need to because we had lost. You know, so anyway, I've been following it and talking and following it and talking and following it and to keep it alive. So what I did was I contacted, actually no, I'll change that. His brother, I talked to his brother. Okay, I talked to his brother and I talked to his cousin first. But I met her through a roundabout way. I met his cousin. I talked to her on the phone. She was the first person I talked to. And her name is Sherry. And incidentally, his family is here. But good morning, Sherry. How are you?
Good morning. Great. Thank you.
How did you find me?
Through a friend. A friend recommended me to contact you because you were a member of the NAACP. And I thought that this cause was NAACP worthy. Okay. And that's why I contacted you.
Okay. And I talked to his brother. I ended up meeting his brother because his brother actually lives here in Killeen. And Garrett, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. How you doing?
I have a question. When this first happened, who did you contact?
First person I contacted was the Justice Department.
Okay.
I tried to, get some help through the justice system. Mm-hmm. And they gave me the runaround on that. And then I kind of luckily got in touch with you. I think Sherry had called me. And then we just went from there.
Did you contact okay, because I'm going to bust them out if they need me. Did you contact the Killeen branch of NAACP?
No, I actually contacted the one in Washington, D.C.
Okay. And what did they say?
They referred me back to the district attorney for public defenders.
So they didn't offer you no service?
No. They said, we work for the police and you need to contact the public defender.
So they gave you some crazy answer.
Yeah.
So I need to check on that too.
Pretty much.
I need to check on that. Yeah, because for the NAACP, I'm two people. I'm the state education chair, and I'm also the Central Texas area coordinator for the NAACP. So I hold two seats. And when there's an injustice done, we're supposed to react the way we're supposed to react. So obviously that went all wrong. Yeah. But when that happened that morning, I'll talk to you first because you live here. What when that happened that morning and all that, where was your mindset at?
Well, my mind first went crazy. My other brother gave me a phone call and say, "Hey, Marvin's house is surrounded by police," and I thought the worst because I know you never hear a happy ending on police stories like that. So I just sat there and I laid in my bed and I wondered what was going on, and I could still hear them on the phone. I can hear the background noise with the police hollering and stuff like that, and I just thought the worst.
Wow.
I didn't even want to get up and go see what happened because I thought the worst. And I just prayed and hoped that it wasn't going to happen like that.
So what was your first action?
Well, after that, I finally did get up and go over there and check it out. And when I went over, I saw, several police cars and SWAT teams, and they still was, actively trying to, get my brother. I stood across the street at my other brother's house.
Oh, so he lives across the street from him?
My other brother lived across the street.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, and we just watched and listened. We still heard loud noises from the police officers hollering. I think I didn't hear any gunshots, so it's not that time.
Right.
But I think when I was on the phone, I heard gunshots. Mm-hmm. But so when I stayed over there for a little while, we finally I finally seen them bring someone out, and it was the female, it was his girlfriend.
Right.
And they took her out, took her to the car. And then a few minutes later, I seen them bring him out, and I just breathed a sigh of relief that he was still alive, because I know you see all those TV shows and stuff like that.
Right.
It don't end happy.
Right.
And when they brought him into custody, I felt relieved that he was still alive, and it was just a relief.
Let's make Marvin and people, when you hear what I'm going to say, you need to realize why I'm saying it. Let's make him a human being. How was he when he grew up? What kind of person is he? Because you're his brother, so you're the first line person who would know.
Well, Marvin's always been a go-getter.
Right.
He's always been hardworking. He's always been one that looks out for his family. No matter what, he always wanted to know, was you good? Hey, everything okay? How you doing? You need anything? He always took care, because he's the oldest.
Oh, okay.
It's 6 of us. My oldest sister passed away a few years back, and Marvin's the next oldest.
Oh, wow.
And he always looked out for us. He always said, hey, you need anything? Here's some money. Go get something to eat. You need some clothes, anything. He just always looked out for us. Anybody messing with you? No one's messing with me. He just always looked out.
So he was the true big brother.
The true big brother. True big brother. He was always there.
Was he ever in the military?
Who?
Marvin.
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. Okay. So where you from?
We're from a small town in Indiana, East Chicago, Indiana. Born in East Chicago, Indiana, raised in Gary, Indiana. But our family split up at an early age. My mother passed away when I was 7.
Wow.
And that was in 1974. Actually, it was 10 days after having my sister. And when she passed away, the whole family dispersed.
Okay.
Marvin went this way, my oldest sister went this way, and most of us stayed at home with my mother and my stepmom. My father had remarried, and we all stayed there for a while. We all been apart.
Right.
From 1974 until, what year was that? It was 2011, I believe it is.
Wow.
Before all of us was in the same spot.
Wow.
Once again.
That must have been great.
It was something.
That was great.
It was the first time since 1974.
So Marvin still being the big brother to you?
Always. Always.
Okay, now, so while he's locked away, unfortunately, he's still fussing at you?
Oh, me and Marvin never had a negative relationship.
Right, but I mean fussing at you as the big brother.
We always have positive conversations. He called me twice a week.
Okay, good.
And we talk every day.
Good.
Well, not every day, but 2 times a week. And, it's always positive.
Good. Does he still ask you, are you okay?
Oh, yeah. He's always checking on me. Tell me to watch my back. Make sure you lock your windows. Make sure you do. And I'm a real easygoing person. I don't really look over my shoulder and wonder.
Right.
But sometimes I guess you have to.
Yes, you do.
You
Yeah. Okay. And also we have his cousins on here, Sherry
Yes. Hi.
and Melanie. So good morning. How are you?
I'm great, thank you.
So tell us about you and Marvin, because you're his cousin, first or
I
second
am.
cousin. Which one?
I'm the first cousin.
Okay. All right.
Well, Marvin and I, we grew up together. I am a couple of years older than he, but he was still the quote unquote big cousin. still trying to say, don't do that, come back here. But as I remember him, as Garrett said, that he is always asking, how are you? Are you okay? Do you need anything?
Mm-hmm.
So he had that protective role, I guess more so maybe towards me and the females of the family, because he never wanted any harm to come to the females. He was the protective one of the family. And he's just a fun-loving big guy, like a teddy bear type of guy. He's big and muscular, but yet he has the heart of gentle. Has a gentle heart. He cares about
Like
people.
the gentle giant.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
And Emily.
Melanie.
You're his first cousin?
I'm also a first cousin.
Okay, and what?
Older first cousin.
Oh, excuse me. Oh, okay. She's the older.
I'm the older
first cousin.
I just have to say that, in agreement with what was said earlier, he is just a big, I call him my gentle bear. And, some of the characteristics of a bear is that they're very aggressive when it comes to protecting
Their family.
young and their
Yes,
family.
yes.
And while he was this huge, big, giant person, again, he had the heart of someone who was forever giving, of not just materially, but of himself. And
Great.
you don't find very many people that that are genuinely giving kinds of persons. And even though he was this big, gentle bear, with my being the older cousin, I still would oftentimes pull rank, and we would have our words. But, we had that understanding that, it was all, and everything was done in love and out of love.
Right.
And so we understand that, but I'm just sorry that all this is happening.
Right. So Garrett, the big brother who
Yes.
who told you to take care of yourself and find out, check out, lock your doors and all those things, is not the same person that you would think this would happen to.
Oh no, not at all. Not at all.
Because you would have thought that he would have. It doesn't fit his personality.
No, not at all.
The person that we read about in the paper.
No, not at all.
So the newspaper articles that were about him, I'll say and I'm asking you, I find the one that Clay wrote, was much more intense, because when we read the paper, we just read, first ever, no knock warrant, no drugs were found, but they highlighted that a cop was shot, and I'm sorry that he got shot and killed, but it was in the line of duty, in the job that they have, sometimes you don't get to go home. But, you never heard a human side of him. But also the one thing that you never read in the paper was the fact that the police officer put a gun in his mouth and threatened him.
Right. Yeah, he told me about that.
That was it's an article in the Killeen Daily Herald. Clay Thorpe wrote the article. In fact, if you Google Marvin's name, that article comes up. But I didn't know about that until then. Because in the Killeen paper, it never happened. So he had told you about that?
Yes, he did.
So is that in the line of duty?
I don't know.
When they was taking him in custody, he said that happened.
They put but we didn't find it out until last year. I think it's in December when Thorpe wrote that article, and it appeared in the Killeen Daily Herald. And so that was another part that to me was crucial. We should have known then, because all we heard was the negative about him. Yeah. We never heard that the police did anything wrong. You see what I'm,
Exactly.
So that was a shock. But I'm gonna ask a question. When this happened, our police chief was Dennis Baldwin. Now he's our interim city manager. Do you think that makes the difference?
Isn't that a conflict of interest?
It would sound like it's kind of.
I mean, I don't know politics, but it would seem as if that is a conflict of interest. If you,
in terms of fairness,
right,
in terms of justice.
I don't know the ins and outs of the political world and how that works, but in my humble opinion, that seems to be a huge conflict of interest against the fairness of this case.
Yeah, because when it happened, okay, our city manager retired quickly due to some issues. He quickly retired.
That's pretty clever.
He was just real fast. And when you your interim police chief has to be someone who's in a position of authority. Well, first we had our assistant city manager. She became it, and then that was a conflict anyway. So they searched around and they put him in that slot. I asked the city council people, did they remember that we have this capital murder case over here, and you taking this same man and you placing him here? I had an issue with that. When I asked the city council people that, they looked at me like I, had spoke a foreign language, and they forgot about it. That was the first thing they all told me. They forgot. Now, these are elected officials for the city. They forgot.
Well, when they once remembered, what could be done since they now remembered? Since it was brought to their attention.
Well, first of all, I'm the only one who asked that question, unfortunately. That's number one. The number one thing is I'm the only one who asked that question, because I asked. Because if I ask you something, I'm going to go back and find out how many other people asked. Because in my brain, it says that everybody else should have thought about it in my brain. And I realize that's only in my brain. I realize that. But to me, everybody should have asked that question. Remember this capital murder case that we have, that he was the chief here. Now he's a little more powerful because he's the assistant city manager. So I thought, but I'm the only one who asked that. And I'm one to tell everybody that your elected officials, they work for you. You don't work for them. Right. So when they do something crazy, we need to call them on the carpet. And I'll Facebook them on the carpet. People know I'll Facebook them. I'll text you to death. I'm going to call you, but you're going to give me an answer. And then I'm going to blast it. I'm going to blast elected officials, because when they do something crazy, we need to let everybody know. But we need to hold them accountable. But too long, we've been passive. We go, I put you in office and now I can go home and sit down. No, they work for you.